Speaker.
Thank you. Member for Orange.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, few issues debated in this House have as widespread an impact on the people of our state as the ever-increasing cost of living pressures. I stood in this place 3 years ago raising the same concerns, yet the situation hasn't improved in any meaningful way. And if anything, it's become even tougher. We must acknowledge that we're facing today isn't just persistent, but it's escalating. This is not a new problem. We all know that money doesn't stretch as far as it once did. A simple grocery run proves that point. Countless families are leaving the checkout with less food than they need simply because they can't afford to fill the trolley. The rising cost of living is hitting every household, and whether it's young parents trying to make ends meet, pensioners worrying about how to stay warm through winter, or small businesses and small business owners struggling as expenses climb beyond their control, the reality is clear: life's getting more expensive. The long-standing promise that hard work leads to financial stability is slipping away. Wages have barely moved, yet the cost of essentials, food, electricity, fuel, rent and mortgage continue to climb. Households are being stretched to the limit, forced into impossible choices between heating and eating, between covering essential medications or paying the rent, and between giving their children opportunities or merely surviving day to day. A trip to the supermarket is now an exercise of sacrifice, and families that once shopped with confidence are cutting back on fresh food, switching to cheaper alternatives, or simply going without. And we've seen many many people now taking up the opportunity to get their food at food banks that have stepped up to address this issue across many of our local communities. Staple items that used to be affordable now come with price tags that make weekly grocery bills a major source of stress and anxiety. Power and gas bills are another huge burden that many just can't keep up with. How is it right that in a country rich in natural resources, people are being forced to ration electricity, dreading the next electricity bill? How is it fair that turning on an air conditioner in summer or a heater in winter is now a financial decision, a luxury rather than a basic expectation? Housing affordability is another growing expense. Rents are soaring, not just in our cities, but in regional areas like my own electorate of Orange. Families are being priced out of homes, or young people can't save enough for a deposit. Seniors are being left without stability in retirement. The housing dream, once a cornerstone of Australian life, is becoming increasingly unattainable for a generation of hopeful buyers. These aren't just statements or statistics, they represent real people facing real hardships. And behind every figure is a family grappling with uncertainty and stress. Yet despite years of warnings, governments haven't done enough to get ahead of the curve. The cost of living crisis is not the fault of those struggling, it's a series of policy failures that must be addressed urgently. While everyday expenses climb, wages have failed to keep up. Inflation is eating away at earnings, leaving people working longer hours or juggling multiple jobs just to stay afloat. We've seen industrial action in recent times, not out of greed, but out of a necessity. Workers fighting just to keep up with the rising costs of living, fighting to preserve their dignity and financial security. Even households that were once financially secure are now taking on debt just to cover the basics. And I personally know people who've had to take on second jobs in the evenings and or weekends just to stay ahead of the bills. This added pressure is not sustainable. It's hurting families, communities and individuals' well-being. The minimum wage, once a safety net for working Australians, no longer provides the security it should. Middle income earners who once had enough to live comfortably are now struggling to maintain their standard of living. Meanwhile, corporate profits continue to soar and executive bonuses continue to grow. We're seeing an ever-growing chasm between high-income earners and everyone else. Many middle-income families who once felt secure are now just trying to keep their heads above water. They deserve better, and it's our responsibility as representatives to ensure we do all we can to support them. For the foreseeable future, cost of living relief must be at the centre of government decision making. This issue isn't going away, and neither should our focus on fixing it. Immediate and meaningful action is essential, and the people of our state expect nothing less from those elected to represent them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.